whatever your company constitute, whatever you are doing a business, and who are all the top level management. There is no need to say all the names of the employees, but with respect to the top level management, including CEO, board of directors, auditors, etc., I have to mention, and just to go through how each company mentioned. So for this, to avoid the duplication happened last time, so it can be submitted as mentioned the date, maybe 1 or 2 days given for the things. You have to go through and decide the company name for you, which is comfortable to take the topic, and just to post your company name, comma, your topic, your name and section in the WhatsApp group. So we have a common WhatsApp group for ABC section. Okay. So all the students has to check the WhatsApp group from today, because whoever is posting, you have to skip the name of the company that they already selected. Okay. So it is no need that it should be from India, it should be from Kerala, it should be from Tamil Nadu, it can be from anywhere. It's for just understanding how the corporate governance report has prepared. Okay. So today we are discussing about the theoretical concepts. After that, I will show some sample. So how the compliance report looks and what you have to go through. And what is the activities about? It's a very simple activity, just to go through the full page, maybe 50 pages or 200 pages, just to go through it for 15 to 30 minutes and give you a review. Okay, so you are giving us a review. Yes, this so and so company is having this organization structure. This organization is this type of structure, and the board of directors are clearly defined, and your comment about their reporting and their performance, maximum in 15 to 20 lines. It's just a typing. So you are just posting the review of yourself on the company compliance report. You are giving a feedback, and some companies maybe may not listed there all the committees. So we are going to see what are the different committees today. Okay, some companies may listed many committees. So there are mandatory 5 committees will be there. So some companies will have more committees. Then you can say, yes, okay, the company is very nice. They had explained about various committee members, and they had appointed in a proper manner, and they have a lot of meeting. Like that, you are giving a review. So as an auditor, you are going through a company report and you are just saying it's fine. Or if it is lagging something, you can say that the company can include these things. These are not included. Okay, so this just for your understanding how the compliance report says. So even you take any compliance report of any company, it will explain about each and every concept. So whatever we are discussing in the corporate governance, what is who is a board of director, what is the way they can be recruited, what are the powers of a director. These are theoretically we are discussing in our subject, but the same thing has to be explained in the compliance report, because whoever can read the compliance report, the investors or other stakeholders may not be a graduated or may not study the corporate governance. Okay, so whoever studied the report, they should have the clear understanding about the company. So they will add whether what is the procedure, and even they may upload their resume of their each is a board of directors. Okay, so you can just give a comment over that. Your selected company compliance report, it is called as compliance report or corporate governance report. Sometimes in the annual report or financial report itself, they may given this detail. Okay, so the later of the class, I will show some samples. Now I am moving to the theoretical thing. Okay, so in between, the students will be called to share the points with respect to any questions asked. So be ready, students. Okay, so at any time you will be called. Okay, fine. Okay, so just a reminder. Okay, so we started discussing about various members, especially we have to study about the board of directors. So who are all the board of directors? Board of directors are the elected group of individuals. Okay, so there are elected members like our ministers, our election we are conducting for our political system for governing the state. The same way, for the corporate, there is a need to appoint a board of directors through voting by the shareholders. Okay, so shareholders are the decision authority in selecting a board of directors. Okay, so the board is a governing body that typically meets at regular intervals. So what is their responsibility? Board will be having it. It's like a team. They may be from different qualification or different experience, that will see what are the committees. Okay, they may be from different committees, they have different responsibilities. Okay, so there is a clear structure. These are the period this committee members or board of directors has to meet, and they have to set policy, they have to review on their vision and mission, and they have to review on the performance of or the strategies what the company is adopting. If there is any challenges is happening, then the board of committee has to be organized immediately, and they have to come up with some suggestions. Okay, so here the corporate governance for a private, there is also some mandatory thing. If it is a public company means when we are issuing a shares, then it automatically will become a public company. So when the public can invest or act as a shareholder, it becomes public company. So for a public company, it is a mandatory that they should have a board of committee members or board of directors. Okay, so based on the board of directors performance only, the company value will increase. So normally we will see in the share, okay, we will see in the daily newspaper, the share of the particular company is increasing, decreasing. Okay, so for the investment decision by the shareholder in the market, the board of directors name, the board of directors value, the board of the trust on the board of directors is very much important. And whenever the problem is happening, the shareholders will cleanly watch how the board of directors acting, how they are suggesting for the recovery of the any issues. Okay, so the board of directors are very important, but they are selected by the shareholders. Okay. Yes. So we can call it as a board committee or board of committee. Okay. So board committee, it's a group of members allocated as a one team, that is called as a committee. Okay. So as the board of director is a common board, okay, in which representation from each committee will be there. But for allegation of different types of duties, so we have a different types of duties in the company. It's not a functional area. Okay, so please clearly understand, it is not like a HR, marketing, it's not like a finance, IT, etc. So apart from this functional, because these are the operations, marketing, HR, finance, system, IT, these are the operational area or functional area, but there should be something beyond that, which will be controlled by the external environment. So already told that the corporate governance is the internal environment. It should be designed based on the external environment. Okay, so all decisions, recommendations of the committees are required for the running of the smooth running of the organizations. Okay, so there is an entire team called as board of directors where there will be representatives. The board of directors will have a committee members. Okay, so the committee members will be heading a separate committee. Okay, that committee have separate roles and responsibility apart from regular operations. Okay, so the question will be there, why we have to have a separate committee? Yes, the separate committee will reduce the workload of the board of directors. So board of directors will not meet regularly, or they will not discuss day by day. They may be discussing in the quarterly or half-yearly or yearly whenever it is required. So there should be some team which should be take care of the daily operations, and they should have a daily monitoring of the functional areas. They should have a close contact with the respective managers of various departments. And as we have a board committee member, whenever the board of directors having a discussion, these people input will be highly influential in making the right decisions. And the board of directors, it is very difficult to communicate regularly with the shareholders. Okay, so the communication to the shareholders can be facilitated by individual committee members. So for example, a shareholder is questioning about the remuneration of the director or remuneration of the members, means there is no need that the board has to come and have to explain to the shareholders. So board means they will discuss among them only. They will not be addressing to the common public, or they will not be addressing to the employees. They will not be addressing to the shareholders. But the committee members can address the shareholders or stakeholders or whoever it may be. So the communication to the shareholders can be smooth. Okay, so we have a common director, or we can have a word called the CEO. The CEO is the person who is chairing the entire board of directors. Okay, he is a chairing. For example, there is a 10 board of directors, means he is a chairing. So he can facilitate the discussion with the shareholder, but before the discussion with the shareholder, he has to discuss with the committee members. Okay, so here the communication to the stakeholders. The stakeholders mean apart from the shareholders, there is the employee, there is a customer, there is a suppliers, government, etc. So there is a need for communicating all your remuneration related or strategy related or risk related things to the stakeholder. It will be facilitated to the respective board of members. And whenever there is a government or political system insist on some rules, regulation, policies, mean that has to be studied and fulfilled by the board committee members. Okay. Yes. So now we will see the major important committees. So normal word we will say it is a team or a group. So in the corporate, it is a top level. We will call it as a board, CEO, board of directors. The board of directors will be assisted by the respective committee members. Okay, so there are n number of committees. Some companies have a 10 committee, some company have a 20 committee. Each committee have a subcommittee, etc. But it is said that minimum we can have a 5 to 6 committees. I mentioned here about the 5 important committees: audit committee, nomination and remuneration committee. So some company have a nomination committee as a separate committee and remuneration as a separate committee, and CSR committee. So it is a mandatory that when you become a growing organization, you have to spend money for the CSR. Okay, and it will increase the value among the stakeholders. So for that also we can have a separate committee, that's called a CSR committee, and there is a separate committee for risk management. So day to day there is a lot of risk is there, unexpected risk will come, and risk from the external environment, risk from the internal environment, risk with respect to the business or financial thing or operation, whatever it may be. So there will be a number of risks. So when we say risk, the risk has to be addressed or handled by the separate committee, risk management committee. And there is a separate thing, we have to maintain the relationship with the shareholders. Okay, so not only with the shareholders, we have to have a relationship with the employees, customers, suppliers. So to have a relationship maintenance, we can have a separate committee. So some companies will divide the stakeholder committee into shareholder committee, employee relation committee, customer management committee, supplier management committee, or vendor management committee. They can have a subcommittees, but overall we are calling it as a stakeholders relationship committee. So we have to understand the structure. Okay, any company should be headed by board of directors. The board of directors can be chaired by CEO. The CEO is the person is appointed by the board of directors. Okay, so the board of director can appoint CEO. The CEO is a part of the organization. And we have to remember, board of directors can be inside the organization or can be outside the organization, but they will not involve in day-to-day activities. So CEO, next one, board of director. The board of director can be assisted by various committees. The committee, we have a mix of people. Some people may be full-time, who is running the organization, who is daily coming. Some employees, some committee members can be outside the organization also. It is a mix. So we have to see what is mandatory, how many members is mandatory. And when you go through the company report, please see, they will mention the what is their structure. For example, audit committee means they will say in the audit committee, 2 committee members for within the organization, 3 members may be outside the organization, and they will mention this. If you take another company, it will be different. But there is a rule that there should be minimum this much number of people from inside. There should be minimum number of people from outside, and there should be minimum number of people from board of directors, executive board of director, independent board of director. We studied, right? So there is a norm is there. So whenever we are formulating, we have the other 2 norms. Excess we can appoint. That's not a problem. That we are going to see. Okay. So the first one we are seeing about the audit committee. So audit committee by section 177 of the Companies Act 2013 and rule 6 and 7 of Companies Rule 2014. So why I am saying this, please understand friends, up to employment with respect to the managers, marketing managers or executives, you have a freedom. If you go for appointing the higher level the board of directors or other CEO, CFO means you cannot decide 100% of their recruitment. Okay, so you have to discuss with our board, you have to discuss with the committee, and you have to adhere to the rules and regulation of the government or Companies Act. Okay, so according to Companies Act 2013 and Company Rule 2014, it deals with the formulation of audit committee. So here it says that, or if you're forming an audit committee, there should be a minimum of 3 directors with the independent director forming a majority. So here we already discussed in the today's back class, what is meant by director, that is executive director and non-executive director. Non-executive director can be called as the independent director. So directors are the part of the organization. They will be coming regularly. Independent directors can be outside the organization, then and there they will come. So there is a need that there should be some directors inside, there should be some director outside. So audit committee says that minimum of 3 directors with independent directors forming a majority. So for example, whatever may be your size, maybe your size of the audit committee is 5 or 20 or 100, whatever it may be, you should have minimum 3 independent directors. 3 independent director means there should be some directors outside the organization. They should not be involved in day-to-day activities. You can have more, but there should be minimum 3. You can have 4, 5, 10, etc., but you should have minimum 3. With respect to the executive directors, there is no compulsory that this much number of people is there, because obviously you have to put. So we cannot avoid internal committee members. So the government says, the law says that whatever it may be you are constituting, you should have a 3 independent directors. Next condition, you can have a number of dependent or executive directors, but the majority should be from the independent directors. So for example, you have 3 executive directors within the organization, mean as per rule we should have 3 minimum independent director and it should be majority. So as already you are having executive director 3 means at least you should have 4 independent directors. So your team should be 7. So if you have a 3 members, minimum you should have 4. 3 internal members mean minimum you should have a 4. As per rule, minimum 3 directors. And another rule, there should be a majority from the independent directors. Okay, so the majority of the members of the audit committee can be included as a chairperson, shall be person with the ability to do it. So it is a one, and the chairperson means audit committee head. We can say it's a normal way, it is a heading, chairing. So whenever there is a committee meeting is conducted, he is the person who has to lead. It is the normal word we'll say as a group leader or team leader. So he is actually chairing. So we can't say exactly they are heading, they are the head of others. So they are the part of the members, but they are actually just chairing it, addressing it. Okay, so but the condition is who is going to act as a chairperson for the committee should be ability to read and understand the financial statement. That means that audit is mostly related to quantitative and financial appraisals. So when we are appointing, we should be very careful that they should have some financial knowledge. And who is going to chair should be able to clearly understand about their financial performance. He should be able to read the balance sheet. He should be able to read the fund flow, cash flow statement, etc. These are mandated things for the audit committee. Okay, so audit committee shall assist the board of members in the oversight. So this is the committee which is going to assist the board of directors. So board of directors in the higher level, and it is supported by audit committee. So what are the place they can support? Integrity of the financial statement of the company, and any internal control with respect to the financial reporting, and accounting firms qualification and independence, and the performance of the company internal audit, company compliance with the legal and regulatory requirements, and performance of the compliance function. So here we can see the 2 main important things. One is related to financial perspective. So the audit committee can search for a report, can review the report, can prepare the report, so that the board of directors will go through and have to take a decision. Another one, there is something apart from the financial thing, some data, some information that is mandatory for legal perspective or compliance. You have to show that. So for example, you are going to put some report on the website, or you are going to prepare a report you are going to share to the stakeholder or shareholder. Means before it is shared, you have to audit it. So you have to check the viability, you have to check the reliability of the content, because if there is any mistake, that will affect our entire company image. So in this perspective, the audit committee can assist the board of directors. So the same thing, if you say the functions of audit committee means they can recommend for appointment of remuneration in terms of appointment of auditors. So audit committee is a committee. It will be formed within the organization. Okay, it can have some internal committee members and the external committee members. And apart from this, it is a mandatory that either is a quarterly or a half yearly or yearly with respect to the company's norms, we have to conduct audit. So one audit is called as internal audit, another one audit. So which we will be discussing in the second unit. Okay. So then and there, even we are having a managers, even we having a supervisors, then and there, we have to check, we have to audit whether everything is going fine or not. The audit can be in a production department, audit can be in IT department, audit can be in a finance department. Auditing is just checking whether everything is going fine or not. So for this, sometimes you have to appoint external auditor. Only for that day auditing only. Audit committee is different. Daily we will check. And board of directors, they will appraise for quarterly or yearly. That is a different thing. But sometimes we have to appoint external. There is no need that he should have a relationship with the organization, because then only our shareholders and stakeholders will trust our organization. See, they are having some audit committee. Apart from that, they are having board of committee members. Apart from that, they have an external audit member. So that external audit members can be recommended by the audit committee. And this audit committee can review and monitor auditors' independence and performance. So there are some members, auditors will be there, maybe internal auditor, external auditor. So this audit committee can review how they are appraising, how they are performing. And the audit committee can go through the financial statement, and auditor will submit a report then and there. So whenever the auditing is happening in the organization, he will submit some report. So the audit committee member immediately go through the report, and they have to come up with a suggestion what can be done in the future. And whenever there is a modification in transaction of the company, so it may be from the vendor or maybe from the another corporate, we have some transactions, maybe acquisition or a joint venture, whatever it may be, or a big sales transaction. So whatever it may be, so if it is a volume is very big, means that has to be approved by the audit committee, because short-term profit will not be entertained when it goes for the corporate. Okay. And when we go for loans also, okay, when we go for loans, then also again the audit committee has to approve, yes, you can go for that loan, or whether we are going to invest our money in some other business or some other bond or some other share for some purpose. Okay, that also has to be scrutinized by the audit committee members. And when we are going to buy another company, either it is acquisition or just we are going for a merger or whatever it may be, so we have to appraise the asset of another company, what we are going to undertake. So that asset valuation is also done either by the audit committee or with the supervision of the audit committee. And if there is any financial control measures or risk management control, so these two things can be from another committee, but that has to be evaluated by the audit committee members. So generally, how the funds are raised. The funds can be raised by loans, funds can be raised by other shareholders, the funds can be raised by donation, whatever it may be, how it is raised, and how the company is going to spend, how the portfolio of the fund is managed properly. These things also should be monitored by the audit committee. So these are the various functions of audit committee. Okay. So from this we will understood what are the powers of audit committee members. They call for the comments of audit. So at any point of time, they can conduct internal audit using their internal audit system, and they have the right to call external auditors to check whether the internal auditing is functioning properly or not, and they can investigate any activity with respect to any terms of reference. So the audit committee members has the right to inquire, evaluate, review any department, and they have the right to ask information about any employee, starting from the CEO to the last security or the receptionist. They have the right to ask information about any people at any level. And whenever it's required, they have the right to go for getting second opinion or advice, either it is a legal thing or professional thing or financial thing. They have the right to go and ask for the advice with respect to the company's performance. And again, the auditors can be internal auditors, can be external auditors. Their performance can be reviewed, and financial statement has to be reviewed before the submission to the board. So board is the final person they are going to approve. But before going to the board, the audit committee has to review the financial statement. And with respect to any related issues with respect to the internal and statutory auditor, and with respect to the overall management of the company, auditing plays a major role. So the audit committee members has the power to take care of the financial thing, day-to-day activities, if anything required to be audited, and even they can question the employees, and they can question any operation, They can question any financial transaction, and if they need any document, then the company has to, any person has to give the details. Okay. Yes. There is a question from Evangeline. Uh, can the independent director be also as a visiting auditor? So here, auditor, Evangeline, the auditor is many types. So the second unit will be discussing about control, internal control. So auditor can be inside auditor, or externally we can have auditor. The external auditor should be a visiting auditor. Okay, director role is different, auditor role is different. So auditor, we have a qualification. Okay, he should be completed a CA or CS. He should have this much year of experience in appraising this corporate. Like that, he should have a separate experience. Independent directors, mostly they will give suggestions. But as you said, if it is required, because independent directors, there is no need to come on the regular operations. So if it is required, the independent director can also be act as an auditor, or auditor can also be act as an independent director. But this can be for the internal adjustment. But when you call for the external auditing, for example, it happened per year only, means he should not have any connection or any responsibility with the company. Even if you say independent director, he has a moral responsibility with the company. He is an independent director. He has to assist for the performance of the organization. He has to help the organization. But as you said, if the auditor is an independent director, means what will happen? Sometimes, as I am an independent director of the organization, I want to favor. I will not be that much strict or harsh in appraising the document. So it is suggested that external auditor should not have any relevance or any roles in the organization. If it is internal, means we can have. Okay, so I believe the question is answered. It's a very good question. Okay, so the same thing. So what are the information can be reviewed by audit committee? Okay, so financial statements and financial conditions and results of operations, and whether all the laws and regulations followed in the company, with starting from the recruitment, from the sales or financial thing, which is compliance with the law or not, and whether the reports are able to manage, if anything, risk management related things. And whenever we are drafting a management letters or letters for internal control weaknesses, so if there is any problem, means we have to write a letter or communication, mean that reports has to be reviewed by audit. And as I said, records related to party transaction, if it is a big deal, means that has to be appraised, and the appointment, removal, and terms of remuneration. So actually these are all things are documents. Audit means what they will do, actually they will go through the documents. Okay, so even they say they can involve in human resource. Human resource, you call this appointment and firing and remuneration. Remuneration, fixing of the salary. So the auditor has the right to review the remuneration. Okay, so now I have few doubts from the student side. So I will ask to the students. Okay, so with respect to the audit. So the students, be ready, and you have to switch on your video and you can ask. Chetan MN from 3122 C section.
Hello.
Yes, Chetan.
Yes, sir.
Chetan, I believe that you are listening to it. So from this audit committee, I am asking from your perspective only. Your perspective only. There is nothing wrong or right. You can review it later. Why there is a need for the audit committee to go through the remuneration part? Already we are having a separate remuneration committee, but still audit committee, they are saying that they have to go through the remuneration part or appointment part of any, not all the employees requiredly, especially in board of directors appointment or board of directors remuneration. What is the need?
Sir, when they have to give the complete full disclosure about the company, they have to they take the review from the audit committee when appointing the directors.
Yes, yes, you're right. But what is the need? So what maybe the mistake may happen? So they're expecting some mistake, right? So if it is not reviewed properly,
sir.
there may be a chance of mistake. What mistake may happen and how it may affect the company performance if the appointment or remuneration is not monitored?
Sir, when sometimes they are going to give the more salary than they have to actually get. Sometimes they will going to give the less. So in that case, they have to make the full disclosure about the appointing the directors. So they have to they have to take the guidelines from the committee to uh, make the decisions.
So, okay, Chetan, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And Archana 3119. Archana. Archana, are you there? Okay, so Archana will be considered as not present. Go to the next. 1007, Angeline Judge.
Yes,
Angeline?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, Angeline. So with respect to the answer given by Chetan, I am asking you one question. So you are an auditor. If you are not audited the remuneration statement, okay, you found later they given an excess salary to a board of director. What may be the impact? Or they given a less salary to the board of director than the market? What will be the impact?
Sir, either they'll be overpaid or underpaid. Like they won't be like getting like paid according to what the work they're doing. So either it'll be ending up overpaid or underpaid, I feel.
Yes. So what will be the problem to the company if it is overpaid or underpaid? That's my question. Why we have to audit the remuneration? So they may be paid with 10 lakh or 20 lakh, 30 lakh per month. For example, board of directors, they will be paid much. What is the problem in paying more or what is the problem in paying less?
Sir, every company will have a fixed like amount of money that needs to be paid to the people and for resources. So like,
That is taken care by HR department, right? Human resource, we have a separate recruitment committee, and human resource, we have a performance appraisal committee. They will take care of this, right? There is a HR department. So why auditor has to influence the HR performance?
Sir, because they're the ones who are in charge of like taking care of, the financial statements. They are the ones who check the integrity of the financial statements of the company. So in a way, they also like play a part in checking, all these financial part of the company.
Okay. Thank you, Anjali. And 1018, Jibish. Jibish Shaji. So I can't hear from Jibish Shaji. Uh, 1047, Cheryl Susan. 1047, Cheryl Susan. One 1051, Sudhakar. 1051, Sudhakar. 2086, Jetlin. 2086, Jetlin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jetlin, I can't see you.
Yes, sir.
So 3199, 1019, 1047, 1051 will be marked absent. Okay. Jetlin, the same question before proceeding. With respect to the salary, how the HR will view the remuneration, how the auditor will view the remuneration, or how much responsible for the human resource in terms of remuneration to the board of directors, and how the auditors is responsible for remuneration for the board of directors. So they have different objective, right? Yes.
Yes. So I believe that getting for example, if an board of directors is getting overpaid, that will be a problem for the others. Like they'll create another issue that a single person is having paid more. And when an audit is done, it will be found that a company is paying, especially to one board of members like high and not the others, and it will be found as a malpractice. And if it is underpaid, it will create even a much problem between the other employees, creating a sense of demotivation, and also other problems in their minds, saying that a particular person is paid more and than all the others, even though they put this equal amount of efforts in the work.
Okay, this is HR perspective. Auditor
Yes, sir.
perspective. If the both the perspective are same, mean there is no need of having two members. So what you said is HR perspective. From the auditor, how
So
they
the auditors, main job is to whether to find out whether they are rightly paid or not. So if and all they're not rightly paid, and to check whether any manipulation is done in the books in terms of salary paid or not, so that they could have an equal pay which has been given to all the board of members. So it's their duty to find out whether they are actually equally paying, or is there any malpractice done in the company inside the organization. So with them with their job done, they can easily find out if there's any malpractice done in the organization.
okay, JP. Thank you. Right, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yes, friends, this is for your clarification. Okay, so always the respective functional areas will look only for the functional objective. For example, you are a marketing manager, means you want to try all these things, okay, with respect to the incentive or bonus or advertisement to increase your sales, because that is your objective. If you are in HR, means your main role is take care of the employees. We want to motivate the employees to perform in the organization. That's it. But when we come to the corporate governance, you are answerable to the shareholders. Why you increase the salary of the particular board of director, even his performance is not well. You are giving more and more salary every year, but the company performance is getting less. Why you are wasting our money? Because each and every shareholder can ask question, and auditors and other board of directors are answerable to the shareholders. They will not be asking directly, but you are answerable. But with respect to the HR, mean they will take care only the employees. Finance people mean they will take care only to tally. They want to make a profit and loss. That's it. But the company will not run only with the profit and loss. Even you are running with a higher profit level, you cannot attract the shareholder unless you are having a value. It should be from the legal way. It should be for the long-standing time. So the share or the shareholder's view is completely different from that of the functional area. So that is the thing. We need a separate audit committee. Yes. So next, we'll move on to nomination remuneration committee. Okay, fine. So this is the issue we faced. Yes. Yes. So another thing, Evangeline said. So regarding the same scenario about the salaries, assuming a manipulation was found while reviewing the salaries and the fault is on the HR department, does the auditor have the right to take action against the HR manager? So there's a question asked from Evangeline. Yes, when we are checking with the details of the salary, it was found that HR managers are not appraised the people properly, and they given a salary or they had manipulation was found. So, okay, so manipulation, I'm not getting the word manipulation exactly here. They may be given extra salary, I believe. So if it so means, yes, as you said, if there is no proper documentation with respect to the performance appraisal, when we say HR means there should be a clear document. This is the way we have to appoint. This is the way they have to given a target. This is the way their performance appraisal has to be done. And based on that, we have to decide with the how much percentage of increment or salary or other elements has to be given. So when the auditors check the report, if the HR manager has not followed these things, yes, they can be questioned. But these things can be done by internal auditor itself. The auditor report will be submitted to the auditing committee. They will appraise it. But yes, they will be taken action against it. Yes. So these are the responsibilities of various committees. So we have another separate committee to nominate and fix the salary of different committee members and board of directors. So some corporates will have a separate committee. Their role is whenever we want to select a board of director, whenever we want to select a chairperson for a committee, whenever we want to select a board of directors, non-executive directors, means these committee will come and review it. Actually, we can say they can act as a HR for the entire corporate, for top level management. Okay, so human resource is a simple word. It's a normal word to just to appoint and motivate the employees. But here, nomination and remuneration for the top level. And even this remuneration committee can check with how the appraisal is happening, how the remuneration happening in the HRN to some extent. But their main role is appointment and remuneration of the board of directors and committee members. Okay, so there also the law, section 178 of the Companies Act 2017 will give the details of appointment of nomination and remuneration committee. So they have to follow this. Again, the rule is at least 3 directors. Committee should comprise of at least 3 directors. So we have a board of committee. Board of committee have a number of directors, right? From this, at least 3 committee members should be the part of this nomination and remuneration committee. And another thing, all shall be non-executive director also. So here there is a freedom. There is no need that everybody should be full-time or executive directors. So here says that nomination remuneration committee can be independent director, non-executive director. Non-executive directors are the person who is not the part of the regular day-to-day activity. So they can be non-executive director, but it is suggested that 3 directors should be in the board of directors, because board of directors all this regularly they will be meeting and discussing. Mean this issue has to be addressed there. So 3 directors from the board of members, it's mandatory. The chairman of the company can be a member of the committee but cannot chair the committee. The chairman means we can say as a CEO. So CEO, board of director, for the board of director there is a chairperson. We will call it as a chairman or a CEO, whatever it may be. He can be the member of the committee. What committee? Nomination and remuneration committee. But he cannot chair the committee. As he is the chairman of overall board of directors of the company, he can be just a part of the remuneration committee. That is the thing. Yes. Sudhakar, if you are able to unmute, you can mute now. Otherwise, you have to come up with another device. Otherwise, I cannot consider. And what is the role of the remuneration committee? To decide and approve the terms and conditions of appointment of executive directors and remuneration payable to the director. Actually, their role is how the recruitment has to be done. As like a normal employees, there should be a lot of rules and regulations for appointing executive directors, non-executive directors, and how much the salary can be given, how much allowance can be given. These things has to be discussed by remuneration committee. And they have to recommend to the board with respect to the remuneration packages, company manager, joint managing, deputy manager, whole type. So these are all the members whose appointment or whose remuneration has to be discussed by the remuneration committee. So below that I had discussed what are the things they have to discuss: salary, benefits, bonus, perquisites, commission, incentive, stock option, pension, retirement benefit, details of fixed component, permanent linked insurance. So these all things will come under HR department for the employees. But this remuneration committee is not bothered about the low-level employees or operation employees or functional employees. They are taking care about only the board of directors. So remuneration and appointment of board of directors will be taken care by them, and other the salary benefit etc. will be discussed by the remuneration committee. So what is the responsibility of them? The first thing we will say that recruitment. Normally we will say the recruitment. Here we are saying that identifying a person who are qualified to become a director, who may be appointed as senior management. So they have to search from the entire market, from different places where we have to find out the right person who can be as a recommended as a board of. So they can recommend the board for their appointments. Actually, they are not going to decide. So only the group of members has to decide, but they can recommend the board of members can be can become the member of the board. Okay, and they will evaluation of the director performance also can be done by nomination and remuneration committee. So it's like a HR. They can go for appointment. They can fix up with the remuneration. At the same time, they can also formulate the policy for evaluating the performance of the director, because we given the entire power of the company to the board of directors' hand. So if any one director is not performing, or not suggesting, or not communicating properly, it will affect the entire company image. So each and every director's performance. What is the director performance? They are not going to work in the organization, how they are auditing, how they are suggesting, whether they are attending the meeting properly, during the meeting, whether they are giving a proper suggestion, solutions, whether they are discussing with the other auditing members or the committee members. This is their appraisal. And they recommend to the board a policy relating to remuneration direction. So actually, they are forming a policy for nomination, forming a policy for recruitment, forming a policy for remuneration, and they will suggest to the board. And finally, the board of directors will go for further process. Okay, so that is with respect to the remuneration and nomination committee. Next, we are having a corporate social responsibility committee. Yes, the corporate social responsibility committee, as per the section 135, company shall be required to constitute. It is a mandatory to constitute the CSR committee. The CSR committee shall be comprised of 3 or more directors, out of which at least 1 director shall be independent director. So this is the condition. So they can have 3 or more, minimum 3 directors should be part of CSR committee. Out of this, 1 director should be independent. They should not come for regular operation. They should not be executive director. They should be out of this regular operation. This is a condition. And the board's report shall disclose the composition of CSR committee. So what they will say, how we are doing the CSR activity, how much amount we are spending, what is our objective of CSR, when we are going to do. These all reports has to be prepared by the CSR committee. And it is mandatory that when the company is going as a corporate company, at least 2% of the average net profit of the company should be spent during the 3 immediately preceding financial years. So every year, 2% of profit has to be allocated. That budget has to be spent maximum within 3 years, coming 3 years. And the very next year, next 3 years, within 3 years. So this thing has to be, policy has to be framed by the CSR because it is mandatory. And it is calculated based on the provision of section 198 of Companies Act 2000. So what is the regulations we have to follow? So we have to identify who has to follow this. Subsection 1 of section 135 Companies Act 2013. Okay, it says that if your company net worth is 500 crore, or your turnover is 1000 crore, or your profit is 5 crore, if any one of the thing is happening, then you have to start a corporate social responsibility committee and you have to spend 2%. So these 3 are mentioned by the act. So when you grow as a big organization, when you become as a corporate, when your turnover is crossing 1000 crore, or your net worth of the company, the value of the company is 500 crore, or your average profit is 5 crore and above, means you should comprise CSR committee. It is a mandatory thing. It is not an optional thing as per the law. Okay. So next one is risk management committee. Okay. In the risk management committee is a separate committee which is constituted to monitor what are the different types of risk. Third unit will speaks about risk management. Second unit speaks about internal control. Third unit I will be taking again this risk management. So what are the different types of risk the company may face? For example, in today's scenario, the risk for any organization is a COVID situation. Risk for any organization is the employee stability. One time we are unable to get the employees, right employees. Another side we are unable to remunerate the existing employees. Another side we are unable to retain the existing employees. Another side, even the employees are there, we are remunerating, they are working, we are unable to have a perfect performance appraisal. These are the risks with respect to the COVID. Another thing, business is getting affected, international challenges are there, our transportation is restricted and the government is restricting in giving a loans, etc. And we cannot force our customers or our suppliers to give the money back, or they have to pay for the bills, because in the current situation we cannot demand anyone. Even though legally we can claim, but it is not sure that immediately we can get. So this is the unexpected situation. The same way, the board of directors grouply resigning the organization and joining the another company. That is one risk. You are growing as a very huge person. Suddenly, one fake message is spread in the social media. Immediately, the share will decrease. Your value. That is one risk. You are having a very good, successful, for example, pharmaceutical related business, but you are unable to get a raw material. Your supplier is not ready to supply the raw material. So without the raw material, you cannot produce. That is one risk. So risk can be from any side, or otherwise, suddenly the government is insisting to implement one policy. that is completely not practical for you, not possible for you to implement immediately. Because of that, you are unable to run the business. This is also a risk. So risk can be any type. We will be discussing about risk in future classes. So the risk committee is responsibility of risk management policies. They should have a risk management policies. What are the possible risk will come? If the risk will come in, how to address? We should not get panic. We should not communicate everything to the employees unless it is required, and we should not confuse the shareholders what is happening. So there are a lot of things, not only the financial thing, the stability or mentality of the employees, and the decision of the board of directors, and the questions from the shareholders and questions from the government. There will be a lot of pressure. How we have to resolve it? That policy has to be framed by the risk management committee, and committee will assist the board of directors in fulfilling the oversight of risk committee. So every committee is just a committee to assist board of directors. Okay, every committee is not actually acting as an individual thing. They can assist the board of directors. Okay, so a risk committee majorly focus on identifying the risk and resolving the risk. Okay, so that will be discussed later. And committee members shall be appointed annually by the board of directors and recommendation of the corporate governance and nomination committee. So already we are having a nomination committee, remuneration committee. By their recommendation only, risk committee members can be appointed with the suggestion of the board of directors, and the committee shall report directly to the board. So the risk committee is a very important committee. So at any time they can directly report to the board of directors. The chief risk officer. So who is the chairperson of the risk committee? Mean chief risk officer shall report directly to both the committee and chief executive officer of the corporation. So risk committee have some separate head to them. The chief risk officer can communicate, or he can speak directly to the CEO if anything a problem. A committee shall review of reports. So the risk committee also have the right to collect the information from various departments, from various levels, from various people to appraise the risk. Okay. So the roles of risk committee, as I said, periodically review the risk management policies and the corporation global risk. It's not only within the organization, globally what is happening, competition what is happening, employees what is happening. They have to do a 360 appraisal, and they should have a process and system to appraise the risk, to make it as a report, and how it has to be discussed in the board. There should be a procedure, and there should be established manager and employee responsibility for risk management. And risk management committee, another responsibility is to, they have to equip or they have to train the managerial level or board of director level and even the employee level, how the risk has to be identified, how risk has to be addressed, and how risk has to be resolved. So they should facilitate the training all levels of people in the corporate to face any risk if it is done. Okay, so with this we will close as it is time. Okay, the next class we will be discussing about stakeholder relationship committee and the balance things. Okay, so other things we will be discussing in the next class. And before that we have 3 minutes. Okay, so I will be showing one of the model report, because in the LMS I had posted